Today, we are back with our monthly Menifee, Murrieta, and Temecula real estate market snapshot. Lots has been going on. Stale listings for one. Lots of homes are sitting on the market for over 30 days. We're going to talk about that. Now that we're past the election, what does that mean for the housing market? And we're going to run the local housing stats at the end of my commentary like we do every month. Let's get to it. Hi, I'm Jessica with the Genung team and Real Broker. Welcome if you are new here and welcome back if you are not. Let's start with stale listings. Stale listings have been trending upward nationwide as well as here in our area recently too. 30 days or more on the market is what I mean by stale listings. We have been studying a couple of Redfin articles over the past few months with this concept of stale and very stale listings. We featured those articles in our weekly newsletter. By the way, there is a link to sign up for our newsletter down below in the description if you want to keep up to date on the Temecula Valley housing market. These Redfin articles prompted us to look at stale listings in our area. Around the time of that first article, around June or July, we were less stale than what Redfin was reporting nationally. But as of October month end, when we took a fresh look, our numbers have crept higher than I realized. So here's the data. In Menifee, 63% of listings have been on the market 30 days or more. In Murrieta, 65% of listings have been on the market 30 days or more. And Temecula has the highest percentage of stale listings at 67% on the market over 30 days. On the one hand, I was a little surprised by this update, and I'll explain why. In these market reports, I also like to give you what I call my trench report, which is my boots on the ground experience and feel for the market. All of our most recent Genung team listings have open escrow in about a week or less. It definitely has not been like the heyday back in the COVID years with the crazy multiple offers. We've only had like 1 or 2 offers on our most recent listings, but nonetheless, we've been getting it done. Also, on the buyer side, my clients have not been touring many listings that are on the market over 30 days. So that has skewed my perception a little. I have really started noticing how many homes are sitting on the market even within my own neighborhood recently. Months of supply has also been going up gradually, and so have days on market. We'll get into that in a minute. But the cream puff homes are definitely not aging on the market. The cream puff homes with a prime location, excellent condition, and desirable features like a pool and a view will still move very quickly. My most recent listings fall into this category where they were in excellent condition. One was a former model, and they definitely have above average features, and the sellers, in collaboration with my team, did an excellent job preparing the properties for sale. This is critical in today's market, which seems to be moving towards a balance between the buyers and sellers after years of being a strong seller's market. If you are selling a home, I highly recommend that you take the steps to properly prepare your home for sale so that you don't end up being one of these stale listings, and so that you don't have to lower the price in order to get it sold. A property that's not well prepared for the market can cost the seller tens of thousands of dollars. I showed one such property last weekend to a client. This home was in the neighborhood next to the neighborhood I live in. It's a popular West Murrieta location with good schools. This was a 4-bedroom home with a 4-car garage, and it had a newer looking pool and spa with a nice backyard. The sellers had tried to sell the home briefly over the summer for $900,000, which I actually think is a fair price for the home. The sellers are apparently motivated, and it's obvious that they've already started moving out, and the home, after being pulled from the market after trying to sell it earlier, was relisted this month at $800,000. I can see the potential for this home because I'm in the business, but it was not properly prepared for sale, not staged properly. All the drapes were closed, making it feel really dark, which it wasn't at all once they were open, among other issues such as an ashtray full of cigarettes sitting on the desk in the office. But even at $800,000, that home is still on the market, and I think the real value is closer to the original $900,000 asking price if it was looking as good as it could. I tell you the story to encourage you to make it a priority to prepare your home properly for sale. Let's move on and talk about the old election. I, for one, am glad to be past the election because I was so distracted by it. The week before the election, I remember thinking, either way, I'm just going to be relieved it's over and I can now move on with my life. I like following politics, but this cycle was pretty intense. So what does the election mean for the real estate market? Well, the stock market and crypto are certainly responding positively to the results results, and will real estate do the same, you might be wondering. People get a little bit nervous about making big decisions during election time, and sales do often slow more in November of an election year than a normal year. But the slowdown is just temporary, and home sales tend to normalize in December and keep going up the next year. Home sales went up after 9 of the past 11 presidential elections, going back to 1978, and prices went up after 7 of the past 8 presidential elections. Most experts are expecting the rates to ease a little bit into the end of the year, although major drops in mortgage rates are not expected. Rates are still on the high side, even though the Fed just cut the federal funds rate at their November meeting another 25 basis points. Mortgage News Daily has the 30-year fixed rate for the conventional loans at 7.01%. But we have had a little bit of recent news. Jerome Powell was just giving a speech about how they are not in a hurry to lower rates. So now I'm actually less certain. I'm like 50-50 that he's going to lower again in December. We'll see what happens. I still think this is a brief buying opportunity through the end of this year because rates are still elevated, supply is up a little, and there is less buyer competition. Buyer competition is expected to increase in early 2025, and lots of folks in our industry think this spring is going to be very busy, and we agree with that from what we're seeing so far. We have several sellers that are planning to list in the springtime. New construction builder promotions are pretty decent right now as well, which often happens at the end of the year as they try to make their quarter and year-end goals. When we get into the busier spring selling season, we typically see less builder promotions. In our weekly email newsletter I mentioned earlier, we have a new construction section where we give you updates on any new promotions that we hear about, and also any info on communities that are like grand opening or they're pre-selling, things like that. Let's get into the resale home market stats. We're going to start with median sales price, as we always do, and we are only analyzing single family homes, which is consistent with how we do our market reports every month to keep it simple for everyone. Starting with the city of Menifee, median sales price. I will say year over year, all 3 cities are up across the board, but it's a mixed bag month over month. So Menifee month over month was down $17,500, and year over year, you're up almost that exact same amount year over year, $17,425, or 3.1% year over year. So year over year, Menifee has the smallest percentage of appreciation of the 3 cities that we're looking at. Median sales price in Menifee, by the way, in October was $582,500. So we have been seeing it kind of peak out. I think it peaked out around $625,000 or so. July was the peak. So it's not unusual to see prices come down as we move into fall and the end of the year, but this one's kind of bouncing around a little bit. Murrieta median sales price, no news here. It is completely flat, which is actually kind of rare. So month over month, $710,000, both in October and in September. That's kind of interesting. Year over year, their median sales price gain of 4% in Murrieta, or a little bit over $27,000. Temecula has the highest percentage year over year. It has gained 7.1% year over year. That's quite high considering it was kind of a sales slump this year. But prices are still increasing even nationwide. But Temecula at 7.1% is particularly high, or that's $54,500. Month over month, Temecula has seen a nice gain as well of $25,000 month over month. And that one has been bouncing around as well. July was also the peak, interestingly enough, in Temecula at $830,000. So we're a little bit off the high in July. So it kind of seems like right now that's the ceiling. I anticipate, because 825 is very near the all-time high for Temecula, which as I mentioned was in July at $830,000. I expect the next couple months we'll see that price come down a little bit, just because that's what seasonally happens. We'll see. That's my guess. So Temecula had the largest gain. It has the highest price. It's the most desirable city in our area, and it is, if you're curious, $115,000 more dollars to buy a home in Temecula versus Murrieta. So Murrieta is kind of, as far as the market determination location, which is where I live, is in the middle of the two cities. Just basing this off of price, by the way. Each city has its pros and cons. Pricing between Murrieta and Menifee, it is $127,500 more expensive to buy a home in Murrieta versus Menifee. A lot of my clients actually start out wanting Murrieta and oftentimes end up in Menifee because for less or the same price, you can get newer construction, a lot more newer construction options out in Menifee versus Murrieta and Temecula. It is slim pickings on new construction these days in those two cities. Number of closed sales starting in Menifee. Year over year, by the way, all three cities, the number of closed sales is down, but just a little bit. So I still consider these numbers fairly flat. They're all in the single digits. So number of closed sales in Menifee month over month is down 3 homes. So again, that's fairly flat. And year over year, it's down 8 homes. So it's down just a little bit. Number of closed sales in Murrieta is up 8 homes month over month, which is actually kind of against the seasonal trend. Normally sales would be trending down as we get into the month, but again, single digits were fairly flat. Year over year, it's down 8 homes, same as Menifee. Number of closed sales in Temecula month over month is up 7 homes, and number of closed sales in Temecula year over year is down 6 homes. So again, all 3 cities across the board year over year are down just a little bit. Median days on market. How long is the average home sitting on the market in our 3 cities that we're looking at? I'm going to call these fairly flat as well because we're in the single digits again. Month over month, it is taking 5 more days to sell a home in Menifee. Year over year, it's taking 4 fewer days to sell a home in Menifee, and that's the only one that is selling quicker year over year of the 3 cities is Menifee. Median days on market for Murrieta month over month is totally flat. 19 days to sell a home in Murrieta in October and September. Year over year, it is taking 7 more days to sell a home. So it's taking a little bit longer year over year. And that's the same story for Temecula. We'll start with that year over year stat. It's taking 3 more days to sell a home year over year. And month over month, it's taking 3 more days. So we went from 16 days in September to 19 days in October. That's still very quick, although we are seeing that number trend up year over year in Murrieta and Temecula and month over month. This stat relates to what we were talking about earlier in my commentary about stale listings. So Menifee month over month, it's taking 5 more days to sell a home, and then Murrieta and Temecula year over year, 7 more days to sell a home. Temecula 3 more days year over year to sell a home, and month over month 3 more days to sell a home. So these numbers trending up is why we're also seeing the amount of stale listings sitting on the market. We're going to move on to number of active listings starting in Menifee, and the big news with the number of active listings also relates to the stale inventory that we're seeing. Year over year, we have a lot more active listings, a lot more homes for buyers to choose from, which makes them less in a hurry, quite frankly. The more the homes fly off the market, the more sense of urgency buyers feel, because normally that's when prices are ticking up, when homes are flying off the market and our inventory is low. But year over year, our inventory is picking up a lot. Menifee active listings is the highest of the 3 cities year over year and month over month. So month over month, there are 11 more active listings in Menifee, and year over year, there's 81 more. So this October, there's 81 more homes on the market for buyers to choose from than October of last year in 2023. So that's a pretty significant increase, 29% increase in inventory. That's good news for buyers, not as great news for sellers, quite frankly. Murrieta month over month is seeing what I would consider a normal seasonal decline of 9 homes month over month, but year over year inventory increase of 7 active listings. So that's a big jump as well, 28.3% increase in active listings in Murrieta. Lastly, we're going to look at Temecula, and Temecula also has a decrease in the number of active listings, but just by 2 homes. So fairly flat on active listings. But year over year, it's up 51 homes, which is 22%. Temecula has the lowest amount of the increase in active listings of the 3 cities at 22%, but that's still a very healthy increase year over year. Number of new listings starting with Menifee, and most of our new listings are up across the board with one exception, and we'll get to that in a minute, but this is consistent with our trend of increasing inventory and listings becoming stale on the market. Menifee month over month is up 13 listings, new listings year over year. Menifee is up 49 new listings. Murrieta, this is the one that's kind of bucking the trend only on the month over month. It is new listings are down 18 homes, but year over year new listings are up 20 homes. Temecula continues the trend of increasing new listings month over month. It's up 5 homes, and year over year Temecula is up 15 new listings. That's year over year. I'm going to touch on months of supply, which I like to go over when I'm talking about the new listing supply. We track this stat every month as well. Months of supply is how long would it take if no new listings were to come to the market to sell through all of the active listings on the MLS. Starting with Menifee, it's 2.9 months of supply. Moving on to Murrieta, it's 3.3 months of supply. So Murrieta has the highest months of supply. And then Temecula is right in the middle at 3 months of supply. This stat is very important to our industry because it indicates whether we're in a buyer or seller market. And depending on how long you've been watching my market stat videos, if you go back to the COVID years, it was often that we had less than 1 month of supply. So now that we're creeping towards 3 and over 3 months of supply, that's why we're starting to get some of these stale listings and we're starting to move into a more balanced market. Thank you guys as always for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.